Hey everybody, it's Mama. Welcome back to Mama Zoedie Tarot. So today we are doing V's personal life deep dive because a lot of people have asked me to do a deep dive just on his personal life. So I figured why not? Let's do that. See what's going on with him in terms of his early personal struggles versus his current personal struggles and what we can look forward to seeing from him within the next 6 months to a year. All right, so let's jump right in and not waste any time. I started off with his public persona his public persona versus his true inner nature, of course. So his public persona. So for Taehyung or V's public persona, we have gossip, seeker, child magical, student, mentor, and virgin. So as far as his public persona, he comes up very childlike, someone very much in tune with his magical, intuitive, childlike side. Someone very pure, kind-hearted, very, just sweethearted and kind-hearted and gentle. Somebody who, maybe even is a little bit of a goofball, possibly, or jokes around a lot with this gossip, likes to joke around and make jokes and whisper in your ear, and that's kind of what that makes me think of. Also someone who likes to have a lot of friends, who possibly people, I would say, always want to know more about. With this seeker, where he's has a little bit of a mystery about him, where people wonder well, what's he into, what is he like? People are always wanting to find out as much information and knowledge about him as they can. We also have mentor. So this one says passing the wisdom. I'm passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. So with the student and mentor both coming out, it shows that he has a duality to him, where just as much as he likes to help others and give out information, he's a good listener and a good student, and he's always willing to be open to learning new things, trying new things, having new experiences, learning from other people, and just being as much of a student as he is a mentor and a teacher. So that's what we have as far as his public persona. Gossip does also kind of make me feel it does say, awakens consideration for the feelings of others, honor and trust. So that does make me feel like he's somebody who's trustworthy, where people would gossip to him and tell him their deepest, darkest secrets and things like that, knowing that he would always keep it near and dear to his heart, and he would never tell people's personal business. I feel like people trust him enough to know that he wouldn't tell their secrets that they told them. All right, let's see about his true inner nature. Rescuer. Move this up here a little bit. We have rescuer. We have lover. We have poet. We have athlete. We have God. And we have Midas and Miser. So as far as his true inner nature, very much still pure-hearted, pure-natured as far as this God card. Very benevolent, very compassionate. Very much sees the good in people, the good in other people, and tries to be as altruistic and good-natured as possible, even to the point of probably detriment, always willing to, rescue other people or save other people, especially relationships and lovers. Anybody that he loves, he's willing to save them and help them out of any situation. He's very much a lover boy, very caring, very kind-hearted, and just willing to wear his heart on his sleeve and be devoted and go all out and show devotion and appreciation to the ones that he loves. I would say with this Midas and Miser, very much an entrepreneurial type of person, so has a business mindset, very good with money and managing money and knowing how to use money, and doesn't mind, like it says on the card, delight in sharing his life riches, doesn't mind sharing his wealth and sharing his money with other people. Athlete, so cares a lot about his physical appearance, his physical body. It says dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, development of personal willpower, and strength of spirit. So he's somebody who does not make excuses for himself or feel like, he needs a crutch or anyone else to do anything for him. He's very much has his own empowerment, self-empowerment, and willpower and confidence to go after what it is that he wants. And then we lastly have poet. So he's somebody who likes to express himself through the music, through his poetry, through symbolic language, and just sharing his gifts and his soul with the world through his art. So that's really, really beautiful. Very much in line with, his public persona, his inner nature. But I think that his poetry and his art and his music is very important to him. And so is, love and caring for the ones that he truly loves. But I think that ultimately, with being a rescuer, it's hard to remember that, ultimately you're not God, right? You're not here to rescue everybody and save everybody. That's not your purpose, and that's not why God put you here. God is already here to do all that. Excuse me, confirmation. And I think that's a hard thing for many people to grasp, especially when you have just such a kind heart and you want to help everybody and you want to make sure everybody's good. You sometimes forget that you could sabotage your own self by being so dedicated and focused on other people in their life. So I think that's something he struggles with. Let's go ahead and continue to some of his early adulthood personal struggles. Early adulthood personal struggles. So we have the crown chakra. Interesting. Heart chakra. Interesting. Release, balance, moon goddess, and sun goddess. So sun and moon is coming out here. So we have a duality here with sun and moon goddess both being out here. So I think that he was constantly juggling, all up in his head, just confused, not always knowing what's the right decision to make, having a hard time finding that inner balance that he was looking for and that stability, because he was always so heavily leaning to one side or the other, right? So if he was in his moon energy, then he would possibly be so, isolated and off to himself and feeling moody and feeling alone and feeling isolated and by himself and like he doesn't have anybody. Or he would be in his sun goddess energy where he's all, putting himself out there and he's surrounded by a lot of people and he's hanging out and he's partying and he's sharing and he's spreading himself and, spending time with everybody. And he's recognizing that sun energy and that vibrating energy of, being outside and spending time with people. But it was hard for him to strike that balance of like not always being around people and needing friends and needing a support system and needing other people to heal you, and not always feeling like you need to be alone, because you have to strike that balance where you have your time alone and you have healthy relationships and friendships. So he was definitely having a hard time staying, aligned and staying on his path. He was definitely out of whack emotionally, very much confused and dealing with stress when it came to know the right decision to make and what to do. He was frequently overwhelmed and stressed out, like his crown chakra being overactive. When your crown is overactive, it's like you can't make proper decisions because you don't hear source, right? You don't hear your ancestors. It's like your head is focused in all of these different places, and all these other people got your head all mixed up that you can't really focus on what it is that you're hearing from your higher self and from your ancestors. So he was just moving so much from his heart chakra and just spreading the love and spreading the care and spreading the joy and trying to be so loving and kind and compassionate and always, be available and spread himself so thin, with his crown chakra being overactive. It's like he was always trying to be available for everybody to talk and for everybody to hang out and just always being that friend that everyone can rely on, so much to the point where he was never able to release, get that time for release. It says, I release that which does not serve my higher purpose with gratitude and love. So he was stuck in a lot of situations that wasn't really serving him for fear of knowing how to release it, for fear of being afraid, being alone, not knowing how to stand in his own independence and being by himself, and feeling like he needed these people for their healing, energy, or to feel good, or to feel needed, or to feel loved. So he ended up in situations longer than he needed to be, just to feel that codependence and, that love from having a friend or having a lover or having somebody. So definitely a lot of heavy on the, crown and heart chakra overactivation. Let's continue. His current personal struggles now. Third eye chakra, throat chakra. Interesting. Spirit guides, solar plexus chakra, sparks of divine coming out in reverse, and air elemental. So we see that before he was dealing with overactivation and imbalance when it comes to chakras, and he still is currently, right? But now it's concerning his third eye chakra and him really listening to the wisdom that his higher self is giving him and then actually applying it. Right? That's totally different, because crown chakra is knowing that, you're being divinely guided and knowing that there is someone else that's carrying you, right? And knowing that there's someone else that is guiding your steps and ordering your steps. But then third eye chakra is like, okay, you're aware of this and you know that now, but how do you apply that to your actual life? And that's where he's struggling, speaking up for himself, right? With this throat chakra, he has access to his spirit guides now. He can feel them and he knows they're around and he can hear them, but now it's about him trusting in their guidance, right? With the solar plexus chakra, knowing and believing in himself, not second guessing it and saying, well, was that really my ancestors telling me that? Was I supposed to, well, this person did just talk to me crazy. Was I supposed to say something back, or was I supposed to cut them off? Like, what was I supposed to do? It's all about him now getting out of this state of confusion and applying the wisdom that he's getting and receiving the wisdom that he's getting from his ancestors, applying it to his life, standing up for himself, speaking his truth and doing what it is that he needs to do to protect himself in the way that his spirit guides is trying to show him how. He's opening up his heart to his guides, but now he has to trust in what they're telling him and act on it and move on it and know that he is capable. He is very much allowed and capable of doing it. With the sparks of divine in reverse and air elemental, it's like he's just stuck in his head, all, in his head about things, and not really being in his body and making a move because he's not sure if what he's hearing is divine intervention, right? He's not sure if this is a spark from the divine, but it coming out in reverse. But he needs to understand that it most absolutely is a divine spark that's being lit up within him, that he needs to follow to go ahead and get out of his head and be open to the wisdom that he's receiving and actually acting on it instead of just overthinking it over and over and over again. It's really time for him to stand up, and with this throat chakra, speak up as well and listen to what it is that his spirit guides have been telling him. So let's go ahead and continue. What did I ask next? What is holding him back the most currently? What is holding him back the most right now currently in his personal life? We have winter coming out of reverse. Take care of your needs. Lord, take charge with authority. Peacekeeper, a harmonious resolution is possible. Shield maiden, make plans and focus. Snake, shed old skin. Protection guardian, drop your shields. Seer, see beyond the current situation. And arrow, surround yourself with protective energy. So he hasn't been taking care of his physical needs in the way that he needs to, mind, body, and soul. He's still surrounding himself with certain things that do not benefit him because he's having a hard time really releasing and letting go and shedding that old skin with Snake being out here. Of course, it's not easy to, let go of old habits and old ways, especially if you've been using them to cope for a long time. It's not going to be easy to actually prioritize yourself when all along you've been prioritizing other people and other people's needs and what they want. But they're really urging him to shed that old skin and focus on prioritizing himself, letting bygones be bygones. If someone is being urged away from him and out of his life, he needs to let that happen. He needs to stop trying to fight against the current of what's happening in his life. With this Lord and protection guardian, it's like God is like, I don't know if he spoke that prayer and said, God, remove anybody who's not for me. But yeah, that prayer is working on him right now, where they're saying that he needs to go ahead and drop his shields because he's trying to still defend and protect and hold on to things that is naturally he's supposed to be shedding, right? God is leading him towards shedding these things. And at this point, God has already taken over with this take charge and authority. The Lord has taken over, and there's nothing that Taehyung, there's nothing that he can do about it, because ultimately he has no defense against this, right? God is doing this for reasons because he was having a hard time doing it himself. So God is like, I got your back. I'm going to help you. I'm going to make sure that everything works out in your favor, right? Like, you may not be able to see beyond the current situation. You may be stuck wondering, oh my God, why am I losing this? Why am I losing certain people, places, friends? Why am I being urged to cut off old habits or get rid of certain things from my life? It's because ultimately God is urging him towards a more peaceful resolution and a better situation in his life, where he's not getting the shit end of the stick anymore, where he's getting prioritized and he's getting taken care of, right? Something that's harmonious and balanced for him, and not just tipping in the scales of the other people, but that actually works, friendships and relationships that are equally yoked and work in his favor. So it's one of those things where he may not be able to see beyond the current situation. He may not be able to see how God is working in his life, but ultimately it is happening. And he is being ushered towards, and opening towards a new phase in his life. And with this shield maiden and arrow, they're telling him that he needs to protect himself at this time. So if they are urging him to isolate and be in a phase where he's just by himself and he has nothing else to do but to just plan out his life and focus on his own path and focus on his own self, then he needs to know that that is being divinely orchestrated, that God decided that it's time for him to isolate. And even if it feels quote unquote lonely or it feels quote unquote sad, this is really the energy that he needed so that he can prioritize himself and his needs and what he's trying to create for his life. So they have him surrounded with protective energy at this time so that he can make plans and focus on, his abundance and his future and what it is that he's trying to create for his life. So that is awesome. I said, what is his biggest motivation and support system then at this time? So we have Traveler coming out in reverse, move in a new direction, which be the light coming out in reverse. Spirit Fox, trust your talents in changing times, coming out in reverse. Hermit, retreat and recharge. Eagle, see things from a higher perspective. Star Ancestor, follow the voice of your soul. Sky Father, trust in the unknown. And Shaman, trust in higher forces. So for him right now, it's really just believing in God. It's really just faith in things that he cannot see, right? Like he just has to believe in his ancestors and his guides and his spirit guides. It's one of those things where, of course, he's struggling with it. He's having a hard time trusting in his talents with his Spirit Fox coming out in reverse and knowing that he is somebody that's of the divine light with this witch coming out in reverse. But this is because this is something new for him, right? With Traveler coming out in reverse. This is all him trying to do something new and move in a new direction. And this is uncharted territory for him. He's not sure what he can trust in terms of his own gut feeling and his intuition. And it's new for him having to know that he's actually capable of connecting with spirit and being conscious and being aware. This is something all very much new to him, but they're making him aware that, that his connection is pure, that is true. And with this Hermit, that him spending time meditating, him spending time with himself and isolating and being in this mode is what's allowing him to even hear his guides. Like, it is truth. That's why he's able to see things from a higher perspective with this ego and look at things from a more spiritual and enlightened viewpoint. It's because he's now connecting with his ancestors and his spirit guides, and he definitely is able to tap in with his intuition and hear what it is that God and his ancestors have to say to him. They're just telling him now it's time for him to follow that voice, right? Follow that voice that he's hearing. Listen to God and what God is nudging him and urging him to do, and know that he is making the right decision with this shaman, that he could trust in these higher forces, that he can trust in God and he can trust in his own shamanistic abilities and be able to step into this new power that he has and step into his divine nature and really start going on his journey. Like, this is really the time for him to go down his spiritual path. And this is why he's going through this spiritual awakening right now, so that he has no choice but to listen to his gifts, listen to his intuition and what his gut is telling him, and know that this is not an illusion, that he's not crazy, that he's not, hearing shit or whatever the case may be with this air guardian. Remember, air elemental came out and now air guardian. So it's one of those things where he possibly felt like he was, going crazy or, hearing things or something of the sort. And they want him to know that everything that he's feeling and hearing, that is the voice of his ancestors and of his soul, and that he is making the right decision. And it's time for him to stop ignoring it with this networker and start actually following through with the things that he's being urged towards doing, whether that's expanding, sharing his gifts with the world, however ways, because we know that he's a very kind and compassionate person, but now they're urging him to increase his network and share certain parts of his gift with the world and embrace the fact that he's opening up a new side of himself with this embrace change coming out here, because he's multifaceted. He's not a one-sided person, and they don't want him to close himself off from his gifts by believing that, it's not possible or that it's not the case. They want him to know that everything that he's seeing and hearing and feeling is very much true. Like, he's recognizing himself and he's recognizing the gifts that are within him, and they want him to continue down that road and that path. So that's awesome. And let's continue. What did I ask about next? What did I ask about next? Oh, I totally did that wrong. Okay, well, that's fine. So that was supposed to be that's all right. So we'll just do it over, because I know I already know what it is. So we can go ahead and do it over. That's not a big deal. And let's just act really quickly. So that's what he's, focusing on internally, and that was what is his biggest support system. Okay, so now let's do externally. What is he focusing on externally? We have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, the Ten of Swords, and the Temperance. The Three of Wands. What is he focusing on externally? What is he focusing on externally? The Magician and the Tower. The High Priestess. And the World. Okay, so as far as externally, what he's focusing on, I'm gonna put these like this. We have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse with the Magician. So it's one of those things where he's actually externally trying to learn how to not be so codependent and not be so needy and not always feel like he needs other people for his emotional security, for his physical security, just for his stability and his happiness and his life in general. He's trying to focus on figuring out a way to create his own abundance and really alchemize what it is that he's doing to create for himself. Also, I think that he's trying to not be so giving, and when it comes to always trying to save somebody and help them in their situation and kind of empowering people to figure their own selves out. We do have Everything is Fine in the Tower, so I feel like he's trying to avoid disaster and stay away from drama and chaos as far as any type of situations. I think he's really isolating. He's really staying at home, and as much as it may not feel good and it may be hard to do this, to watch a lot of things go down around him and watch things come crashing down or watch stuff blow up in flames, but this is ultimately what he's being urged to do, to focus on himself and mind his business. This is a time for him to be patient and wait and do what he knows he's being internally guided to do with this Temperance and the High Priestess. Listen to his ancestors, listen to his guides, listen to what the Sky Father, what God is telling him. And what God is telling him is that it's time to prepare for the future. It's time to prepare for your new beginning. And that means doing only what Taehyung wants to do and only what makes Taehyung happy, and following Taehyung's highest path, right? Going down, opening up the world of possibilities that's available to Taehyung, not to anybody else. And so it's one of those things where with the Three of Wands in the World, I feel like he is focusing on expanding, possibly, thinking about traveling, moving, new business opportunities, new investments, just new things that really make his world happy, that really makes him feel fulfilled and like he's doing what ultimately is the best thing for him, and not just doing what's best for everybody else. Okay. And then since I did that wrong, I next asked, what can we look forward to from him over the next 6 months to 1 year? Let's start with internally, and then we'll do externally, right? Internally, what's going to be going on with him over the next 6 months to a year? What's going to be going on with V internally for the next 6 months to a year? Ooh. Okay, interesting. Yeah, he's going to be in his hermit mode. He's like everything that I'm saying, the ancestors are saying that is pretty much the truth. He's going to be doing what it is that he needs to do. And honestly, it's going to, cause him, a little bit of pain and some burdens that he's going to have to carry on behalf of it with this Knight of Wands and Ten of Wands. But they're saying that it's one of those things where he had been so focused on everybody else, and he could be so passionate and so invested when it comes to everyone else, but they need him to start being invested and being compassionate and being all gung-ho when it comes to the things that he needs to do for himself, not just for everybody else. Stop carrying other people's burdens and really isolate and do what makes me happy. So that's what's still going to be going on over the next 6 months. He may feel, a little bit sad or alone, but I think ultimately he's going to be standing in his truth. He's going to be standing in his power. It's going to be a new beginning that's opening up to him with this Six of Swords in the Sun. Like, he's actually being divinely guided towards this new beginning, and it's going to be beautiful for him. And with this Seven of Pentacles, give me one last one so that we can have 8. But it definitely shows that he's doing the healing work. He's doing the energy healing that he needs to do. I cannot make it up with the Fool card, where even if it hurts and even if it's painful, he's doing what needs to be done. And therefore, he's going to be rewarded by his ancestors for listening and taking their guidance and doing what they asked him to do. He's going to see growth. He's going to see rewards and the fruits of his labor sooner than he even expects, just for following his gut feeling, just for listening and stepping into his own inner truth and inner clarity and not letting anything hold him back. So that's really, really awesome. He he is going to see on, internally a much better mood, a much better attitude. He's going to be in a much more positive, happy, free spirited mindset. Like everything is going to be on the up and up for him because he chose to just put in the work, even if it was a little bit painful and if it was a little bit hard. And now he's going to see, those plants start to actually grow. So let's lastly see externally, what can we look forward to from him over the next 6 months to a year. Externally, oh, it's a lot of wands energy. Lots of wands energy. We got the page, the ace, the 2, and then the 4. The only thing we was missing is the 3 of wands, but that's because it's already out here. So we have, y'all, we have almost a whole suit of wands that's coming out here. All right, let's just get 2 more, and then we can decipher everything, what it's saying here. But it's a lot of new opportunities and new beginnings. I just wanted 1. That was why I had to redo it. All right, so we have first the Page of Wands and the 5 of Swords. So basically they're saying externally it's going to be one of those situations where he's standing alone. He's standing in his truth. We may see him doing some solo projects, doing things on his own. Maybe not so much with BTS or with the group, but just him really, doing some solo work, some independent projects, doing things for himself and creating some new things. He's got some new ideas that he wants to work on, and I think that ultimately it's not going to be something where he's too much worried about bringing other people into it and doing it with other people. It is more so going to be something that puts him into the spotlight in the forefront. And further confirmed by this Ace of Wands and the Star, he's going to be in the spotlight. He's going to be the star of whatever it is that he's going to be creating, whether it's a new TV show, a new, business venture, a new podcast, something. It's going to be something that's a solo venture that he does by himself, where he's putting himself in the spotlight. And I think also he's going to be pouring into other people here with the way, the star card, how this woman is pouring into the water and pouring out. I think that he is going to be doing something where he tries to bring his compassionate side to this society to the forefront, because he has, done it for friends and family and those that he loves. So it's like, why not actually put that towards people who actually value it, like your fans and people who, have watched you and been supporting you for a long time. So it's one of those things where whatever this new idea is that he's about to be, this new project is that he's going to be launching, is going to be something where he can really give back, I think, to his supporters and his fans and the community in a way that he has not done before. I think it's uncharted territory for him with the 2 of Wands and the Hanged One. Like, this is him surrendering to something totally new, like something that he's never really done before. But it's one of those things where they're saying that he has to do it. He has to do it alone. Like with this 2 of Wands, it's going to be, I think, something unexpected and not on the page that we would have seen V on before. It may be like, I never expected to see V in this certain commercial, or I never expected to see V in this certain show. It may even be a little bit controversial, and some people may be judging or not like what it is that they see him doing, but they're saying that ultimately he has to choose himself, which is 4 of Wands and the Queen of Swords. It feels like it could involve speech, or it can involve talking, or just him using his words or his charm. But I think it definitely is going to require him to possibly leave his home, or travel abroad, or do something different, go somewhere to some new uncharted territory and find a home elsewhere and make a new home. So we'll have to see. Or it could just be some sort of international traveling where that he has to do it in order to have this opportunity or this show. But I do see an expansion here and him doing something totally unexpected, and maybe something that we weren't quite expecting V to do. And I think that it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be something that works out really, really great for him. And excuse me, whoever it is that he's working with to do this, whoever I don't know if this is like a producer or another woman, there's someone else here that is sort of involved with this, that he may possibly have gotten this idea from, or who may come to him with this offer. But this person is definitely has his best interest at heart and wants to see him do well and do amazing in this opportunity. So it's looking on the up and up for him. So that's awesome. As far as V, that's what I have. Somebody did ask me about Jimin, so I will just somebody asked me about Jungkook, excuse me. So I will just really quickly ask about Jungkook and the current state of their relationship and friendship, which I think that is fine, but I'll go ahead and ask anyway. What is these two's relationship currently like? Are they hanging out? Are they spending time together? What's going on? We got Prince, we got Fool, we got Destroyer, or we got Prostitute, and give me one more, please. We have Mystic. So I think that right now, you know, unfortunately, they're not hanging out as much as they used to. They have kind of freed themselves up from being so close with each other because, you know, like I said, V is at a place where he's needing to do some introspection. He's focusing on his mystical qualities, his abilities, like learning about his spiritual nature and going down that path. And that is amazing. And that's really great for him. And that's something that he needs to be focused on. And we know that Jungkook, you know, he's definitely all googly-eyed in love and focused on his relationship. And it just kind of feels like their relationship has kind of died down and fizzled down from being as close as it used to be. And they're just kind of going their separate ways. They keep it lighthearted. They still joke with each other and have fun, send each other memes, all that good stuff, and make each other laugh. But I think they're just on their own separate sides of life right now, just doing what it is that makes them happy, trying to figure out the way that they're going to get out from whatever circumstances that they're in. And I think that with this Prostitute and Destroyer, they are on the same page about both wanting to really leave and wanting to really do their own thing and not really be so tied down to BTS and a group career. And I think that that is something that they're definitely talking about and on the same page about. But I don't think that they're like as super duper close as they used to be, because they know that ultimately their lives are going in different directions, and that's okay. They're always going to be family, and they're always going to have love and care about and, you know, care for and love each other. All right, so that's what I have as far as V Taehyung, you know, his video, what's going on in his personal life, you know, in the past and currently and towards the future. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to let me know in the comments, subscribe to the channel so you can never miss my, you know, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Tune in with the community. You can write posts on the community, engage with me. Reach out to me if you need to, you know, book my services or get a personal reading on your own personal life. You also can email me at mamazodi@icloud.com or DM me on one of my, you know, social apps that I have. And if you would like to be a part of the membership, which has members only videos twice a month just for you guys only, as well as access to all of my videos way before they're, you know, they go live for the public, then definitely be sure to check out and subscribe to my membership. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I love you guys. This was a really interesting one, and I will see y'all later.